Alright, so welcome back guys. Once your first time here, I'm Vision here by Entertainment in our video. Today I'll be giving you guys a video regarding the Power Rangers Disney Plus series. Now, Power Rangers, don't you're instant, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below, hit that bell icon next to our Power Rangers content from me, moving forward. Now let's begin. Now, for today's video, I want to talk about the casting for the upcoming Power Rangers series that will be dropping on Disney Plus. Now, as the time of this taping, which is Saturday, August 30th, 2025, we have not gotten any casting announcements as of yet. That might change by the time this video goes up. I have no idea. It could be obsolete by that point, at which point this video won't even go up in the first place. But I want to talk about the casting and how they should do this, because I think casting is a very important thing. They have the directors, they have a set day to start filming, or at least a roundabout time they're going to start filming. So casting is most likely underway right now at the company or behind the scenes, whatever you want to call it. So when it comes to casting PR, I think there are a few important things that they need to take into accountability. One, their acting. Two, their chemistry with each other. And three, can they embody these roles very well in a modern day setting? Look, MMPR came out in the 90s, and now it's 2025. It's been 30 years. A lot of things have changed. And I know a lot of people want to see the characters one-to-one copy from the 90s. I think you need to update them for, the modern era. You can still have them have those traits, but I also think you have to update them for the modern era of PR. There's just certain things that just kind of haven't aged well from the 90s to now. Certain things that you just gotta, kind of tweak a little bit just to make it work. Now, casting-wise, again, for me, I don't really care as long as they are good actors. If they can act, I'm good. I don't care if they're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. They can be Jason, Billy, Zach, whoever they want to be, Trini, Kim, Tommy. Like, I don't care if they race swap them. Gender swap is another issue. I don't think they should do that. But I have no issue with them race swapping any of the characters. I know some people might get annoyed about that, go all the crazy wokeness and DEI BS. But, that's where I stand. Where, like, to me, the acting is number one to me. If they can act, cast them. If they can't act, do not cast them just because maybe they look the part or because they know martial arts. Now, this moves into one thing that I do not want them to do, and it will really annoy and frustrate me if they do, and that is casting actors from Cobra Kai. This is one of the biggest things I've seen on the internet regarding this new Reboot series and, any kind of new form of PR. I do not want actors from Cobra Kai. This is one of the number one most, fan cast where they, pretty much do one-to-one fan cast from pretty much every character from Cobra Kai to playing someone on PR. I do not want that. Stay away from Cobra Kai. I think that, Cobra Kai is a good, popular show right now, but just because the actors know martial arts doesn't automatically say, here, you play Jason, or you play Tommy, you play Kim, or whatever. Just because you know martial arts, in my opinion, doesn't mean you automatically get that role. We all know the stories of Power Rangers boot camp that they've gone through throughout the original run of the show. So, these actors, okay, they act, they can cast, and then behind the scenes, they can learn how to fight. Literally, you don't have to do, casting these, good, big martial arts characters. So, that's where I stand. I know people will disagree with me and say, oh, no, Cobra Kai has some great actors, they should have them. No, stay away from Cobra Kai. I do not want to see them. In my opinion, and I kind of predict this is where the casting is going to go, is that the directors might look at some of the Percy Jackson actors who played those characters there. A lot of times, directors and people who work behind the scenes will look at some of the actors they have already worked with and, go about casting some of them in these roles. So I personally wouldn't be surprised if, say, one or two of the actors from Percy Jackson end up being cast in this series. I don't I don't know the show. I don't know the actors. So for me, I'd be okay with that. That's another thing I think is an important thing, and why I don't want them to cast Cobra Kai is because you need actors who can play their own role and bring something new to this character. And I think bringing an actor who's like this big name, or at least somewhat of a big name from another show, it's kind of hard for them to bring their own identity and create their own character on another show when you've seen them, say, on Cobra Kai. Because a lot of times you'll just see them as that character. You only will ever see them as that one character. You won't see them as Tommy or Jason or whoever they end up casting. You'll only see them as that character from Cobra Kai. So that's why I don't want that to be the case. I think, moving on to my next point, is I think they need to pick B to C-list actors. Do not go A-listers and try to stick to new and relatively unknown, like B, C-list actors. One, it'll keep the budget on the show down. I know Marvel's doing that, or Disney's doing that with Marvel right now for the X-Men. Again, I don't know who's in charge of casting, if it's Disney or Hasbro or whatever. But if Disney is in charge, I could see them also going with lesser-known actors, similar to what they're doing with the X-Men, to keep the cost and budget down. And that's where I stand. I think they should cast relatively unknown actors. That way they can bring their own take to the characters. You don't look at them and can see a different character in them. They're just kind of fresh faces, new template kind of to work with the character. So that's where I stand. I think relatively unknown actors work better, especially with something like this. You want them to bring their own style, their own kind of unique take on the character, especially going in this new universe. So that's where I stand. I think, like, maybe get one, maybe two A-list actors, but for the most part, I'd say stay away from that and go with B, C-list, relatively unknown actors. You know, maybe you can get an A-lister to play Tommy or Jason or something like that. But for the most part, I would stick with, relatively unknown actors just to fill out the team. Maybe if they bring in Zordon, maybe bring in a big name actor to play him. Again, I don't know, maybe bring in a big name actor to play Rita or Zed. But to me, again, I also think for them, they should also probably stick to relatively unknown to new actors. But that's where I stand on that. But also in regards to casting is the chemistry. You have these 5, 6 big characters who have to work together and have to form a believable team. You need to have that. And I think that is going to be an important aspect of casting, is that you have to cast these characters where you believe that they're actually friends and a part of a team. Again, this goes back to what I said about just because they look the part or can fight, I don't want them. I want them to be good actors and be able to have good chemistry with the rest of the cast. And I think that's where they need to start off right there. Look at good actors and then kind of work with, see if they have chemistry with each other. If they don't have chemistry, recast a character who you think needs to be recast and who might have better chemistry with the rest of the team. I don't want them to just be like be stiff. We've seen this in regular PR in the past, say like with Megaforce and Troy. You don't want just like model-like characters just to play these Rangers. Just pick Rangers. I don't even care if they don't look the part. If they look a little nerdy or whatever, that's fine. It gives them a good arc to go through. So, I don't care whether they look the part, whether anything. As long as they can act well, I think that is what number one thing, and have good chemistry. Now, one of the other big things I think Power Rangers has taken account for when they are casting here is some of these legacy characters. Take, for example, whoever is cast as Tommy. This is a big role that's going to be filled, and I honestly feel bad for whoever is cast in this role, because they got huge shoes to fill. First off, they're taking on a role who was iconic in PR, and maybe not even PR, like one of the most iconic characters, I wouldn't say in TV history, but at least in TV kids history. And I think it even puts on more weight on the role, given the fact that JDF has since passed. So, going into this role, I think that they have to be really careful about who they cast in regards to some of these big roles. I think Jason and Tommy are the biggest ones where they have to be careful on who they cast, because they're filling in from these big roles. As much as Austin St. John has fallen from grace in the past few years, Jason is still an iconic character, and you have to take into account some of that when casting for him. So that's another one you have to take account for, and I think him and Tommy is another one that is important that you have to take a good care of in casting. Again, whoever plays Tommy, I do feel bad because they got big shoes to fill. So I do feel bad about that. Also, in regards to that, I think a third character might be important to cast, not as highly as Jason and Tommy, but I think a third big one to cast would probably be whoever plays Kim. Because you also have to get that romance correct. You got to get that relationship between her and Tommy and her and Jason correct. So whoever you cast as Kim has to have good rapport with whoever is playing the part of Tommy and Jason. So all three of those characters I think are probably the most important to cast and need to have good chemistry with each other. The other three, not to say that they're not important, but I think whoever you get to play them, whether they're big names, unknown, like I feel like they can work through that. But I think these three characters, at least these three ones, have to be having the most chemistry with each other. Just because I feel like they are some of the most integral characters to the franchise. Especially Jason and Tommy. I wouldn't say Kim too much, but I think Jason and Tommy are so integral that they have to be done correctly. And if not, it could definitely lead to a mess of a show. But, that's just where I stand on casting. Like, I'm no casting director. I don't know shit about anything. I'm just a fan here, giving my own thoughts and opinions. Maybe they'll follow what I say. Maybe they won't. I'm just some dude on the internet. I highly doubt they'll even see this video. But I think they need to at least take some of these things that I say about into consideration, even if they don't see my video. Like I said, they probably won't. But these are some things I think they need to think about when doing this franchise and moving forward, especially if they want to continue making this a long-term thing. So yeah, those are just my thoughts, opinions on the casting. Let me know yours. Do you agree with me that they should get B-level characters instead of these big A-listers? Do you agree with me that they shouldn't cast Cobra Kai actors, or do you want them to cast Cobra Kai actors? Let me know all that good stuff in the comment section down below. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts, opinions regarding casting for the new and upcoming Power Rangers series on Disney+. As always, if you like this video, don't give a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell icon. There's some more Power Rangers content from me moving forward. And go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, which are linked in that section on my YouTube channel. As always, I'm Vision Here Boy Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.